All right, so let's talk about the different ways you can install KnowUML. This video right here, I'm going to focus on the command line way. And so you probably have already found this link here, which is how you're probably watching this video. And you may or may not have done anything with these ones down below. But KnowUML by itself is the zip file that you need to run it from the command line. If you don't have Java on your machine, then you would need to install that right away. If you have an old version of Java and you don't have a newer one available. Now, there's a couple different ways to make that happen. I'm going to show you in the Windows way, because I happen to be on a Windows machine right now, but you can do the same thing either way. This is a command prompt. And so what I did was I actually came down to Windows here. I typed CMD and you can see command prompt. I CM comma actually. You don't have to put the comma there, but it's smart. You know, when I put CM, it really recognizes the command prompt right there. That's what I ran to open this up. If you're on a Mac, you hit Command space and then type terminal. So you command space and then type. I'll type it in here. Terminal. This is for the Mac people. And that's going to open up a window that's very, very similar. Now, if Java is installed, you should be able to do a Java space dash version. The word version right there. So dash version. And then it's going to tell you, oh, see, I'm on Java version 18. If you're on Java version 11, I think that might be too old. I don't remember if it's 15 or 11, or if you have Java on version 8, you're definitely too old. Those are the two common versions out there. In which case, you probably need, regardless of whether you're doing command line or whether you're doing Eclipse, you're going to need to go through and click on this download and open up a new version. Now, you can see 19 and 17 are available. I'm on 18. Really, just use whatever the most recent version available is for you, because otherwise you have to create an account and log in to be able to download a different version. So there shouldn't be any problem with the most recent version. If there is, reach out and ask for help because it's something I need to fix anyway. But you know, whatever the most recent version of Java is probably the best one. So I'm gonna say, hey, if you need to go install Java, pause and do that now. If you have problems, ask about it. If you're continuing on with this video, I'm gonna assume that you have Java ready to go, or at least you're gonna try it. You can always go back and figure out the right version of Java later on. So I want you to click on knowuml.zip and download that. And you can say I actually downloaded it once already, so I have the number one there. You probably won't have the number one there, but you're gonna take that and then you're going to hopefully zip files a little bit. But if you click on the zip file here, if you don't, for those of you who don't know about it, it's going to open up as a zip file itself. Actually, I have it here. I'm gonna actually open up my. You know what? It's fine. Delete this and delete this just to make sure I'm dealing in the same version that you are. And I'm gonna right click in this, and you can say open, or I can say extract all on Windows. If you're on a Mac, all you have to do is double click it and it's going to extract it all automatically. But understand, on a Windows machine, you do need to explicitly extract all. And so in a Windows machine, it says, where do you want to extract it? Well, I'm going to put it in KnowUML without the one. The one doesn't hurt anything, but I'm going to do it without it just because I don't need it. And that's what it will probably look like on your machine. All right, now notice this is in my downloads folder. You probably want to move it somewhere else because there's going to be files you want to keep track of and submit, especially if you're working on multiple machines. You're going to want to use Dropbox or OneDrive or whatever your choice is to be able to share that if you're working on multiple machines. But move this somewhere to your class folder, somewhere you know what it is. And it's all self-contained once you're in it, so you don't have to worry about it. I'm going to continue to work here because I already have several copies of it floating around. So in my folder here, again, I have another KnowUML folder. That's no big deal. It's just because it extracted it out. Again, you don't have to keep both folders. You only need one of them. Move one of them wherever you want to. And that, you might not have two of them on the Mac, depending how it extracted or whatnot. But you need a KnowUML folder, and it's going to have inside of it current resources and knowuml.jar. So for some of you, when you installed, especially Windows users, when you installed Java, if it had a whole install script, it might have installed it where it automatically detects jar files that are runnable and allow you to run it directly. So my machine's set up that way, I believe. So if I double click it, it immediately pops up on my other screen, this little window. Student ID, first name, last name. And so if you try and double click it and this pops up, you're good to go. Nothing else to do. Type in your student ID, your first name, your last name, hit login, and go from there, right? If you double click it and nothing happens, well, that's where that command line is going to be helpful again. And knowing the command line, it's going to go where it is going to go from there. So what I want to do is I want to copy the path here. So I clicked over in the white space here. You can see my downloads in a little different location. Your downloads I moved mine to be my other hard drive, so don't worry about this path. Wherever your download folder is, or more importantly, it doesn't have to be your download folder. Wherever your KnowUML folder is, wherever you move this to, we need to go to that directory. And the command here is the same in Linux as it is in Windows command prompt. So it's a CD, change directory to whatever that folder is. All right. You might be a bit new to this part of computing. It's something you'll need to know about eventually. Don't panic about it. But the CD change directory, it shows you what is in that folder. Now, in my case, since it's on a different drive, I'm on C drive right now, I actually have to type in E drive. You might not need to do that. But what you want to do is you want to see that you're in that folder. And you can do that on Windows by typing dir. And then you can see, oh, look, knowuml.jar, resources, current. That stuff is in the same place. If you're on Mac, you type ls instead of dir. It doesn't mean anything to Windows, but dir and ls are the same command. One's on Mac, one's on Windows. All right, so once you're in this folder with knowUML, then you type this command, java space dash jar. So we're going to run the jar file space, and I'm typing K and I'm hitting tab, and that types the rest of it for me. And that'll work on both command prompt and terminal. But worst case scenario, you just have to type out knowUML exactly as you see it there. So java space dash jar space knowUML.jar, and then you hit enter, and you get this pop up right here. If you get an error, you could get an error because Java is not found. You could get an error because the Java version is not correct to run that. Or you can get some unknown error that I can't predict right now. But if you have this up and running, you're good to go. You type in your username, your student ID, your first name, your last name, and you'll never have to do that again. When I hit login here, you can see it actually creates, based off of that ID I put in, a config file and a ledger.data file. And then from the verse video, you can see I'm into my badges screen and I can do everything from there. Now you probably want to make sure right away and generate a diagram and make sure this pops up. Make sure there's nothing tricky, nothing running funny on your machine. If there is, then just let me know. It goes from there. I know it works on both Linux, both Mac and Windows. I'm not sure about what Linux. I don't think I've had a student use Linux yet. But there have been some tricky